Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. What we got going on next is a group build that I have joined up on the Model Car Videos Facebook group, but I'm also going to post this on my page. So what we're going to add for this group build is the 56 Chevrolet from Revell. The object of the build was anything from 1932 to 1970, not limited to any specific kit. So Matthew over there at Model Car Videos Facebook group kind of opened it up. I thought it was a pretty nice range of years to let people build what they had. That way you weren't deemed to go buy something if you didn't have it. I've got two of these that I bought last year, which is one reason to build one of them. So one thing we have did today so far was we were able to get the body painted. It came out really nice. I got a bug landed on top of it outside. This has only been sprayed. I primered it this morning, wet sanded it. After let it set for about an hour and a half, I wet sanded it. And then I let that dry for a couple hours. And then we went back and got the paint on it. This is all rattle can. I think it came out really nice. I'll show you what I used. This was the paint I used for it. Rust-Oleum Cherry Red with the Rust-Oleum Automotive Primer. I put a real light coat of the primer on it, let it set for about 10 minutes outside. It was about 75 degrees about 11 o'clock this morning. I let it set about 10 or 15 minutes. Then I went back outside, put another, I won't say a heavy coat on it, but a heavier coat than what I did the first time. I let that set about an hour and brought it in the house, put it under the kitchen sink. I wet sanded it with this little sanding film, the Revell sanding film, or testers. I think it was tester sanding film. I'm not sure of the grit, but it's super, super fine. I wet sanded that, like I said, under the kitchen sink, under running water for, I don't know, I went over everything 4 or 5 times. It's got a good sheen on it right now, but I think this will come out really sharp once we start to hand polish it. I will not do any more sanding on that. But after I had it wet sanded from the primer, I let it set for about an hour to make sure it was dry. And I had this actually setting out in the sun, let it warm up, and gave it about three light coats. Went back about every 5 minutes because it was so hot outside. It dried up pretty quick. 3 light coats, and I waited about 20 minutes and then shot it one last time. Again, I won't say heavy, but heavier than the first 3 coats I put on it. And I left it set outside all day. It's for the most part, it is dry. I'm going to let it set though for probably a day or two. But when we go to polish it out, I will start with this and rub this in with a an old beat up t-shirt that I have sitting here behind me. You can see it's well used. Used it for a while, but I apply the Meguiar Scratch X 2.0 wet. I make sure I have a bowl full of warm water here. I'll rub this in with it wet, and I will rub it in till it's almost gone, and I will not remove that. I'll change location on my towel or my t-shirt, and then we start adding this, the Meguiar's Cleaner Wax. I will put just a dab of this on my t-shirt. I'll wet the t-shirt and start rubbing it in, and I'll usually do this 3 times in one area, and I'll let it set about 5-6 minutes or so, and then I buff it off. And then I proceed on to the next part of the car. Like maybe I'll start with the roof, move to the hood, then I'll do the sides. And once I have all that done, then I use this 2 more times, and I use it dry, and I use it really, really thin. So hopefully when we get to that part, I'll be able to show some of that. Excuse me. But if you haven't guessed by now, this is going to be a fire chief's car. We were able to make a beacon ray for it last night, this morning. This one's going to have a clear dome with red and clear bulbs inside of it. Excuse me. And then we made another siren light for it. We got a nice, looks like a glass lens in it, which actually it's not. We put our little jewel on the back, and we've got our thumbtack base on it. I went ahead and chromed this one. That's why it's in the clamp that it's in, because I got all this chrome drying on it. I don't want to take it out. But this will set up here on the fender somewhere. I will have to file a groove in the center of that because the fender has a little peak on top of it, but that'll set somewhere along in here. Our beacon ray will set up here in the front. I did sand this down in the back a little bit so it can set towards the front of the roof line. And that's pretty much all we've gotten done today. I did start the engine. It's pretty much together. It needs paint now. I'll paint that up Chevrolet orange, and then we'll go on to the frame. I just got some of the pieces out. I haven't done anything to it yet, but that's where we're at. Day 1, I have until October the 2nd to have this done, so hopefully the weekend's here. I can get this dried up, start polishing on it tomorrow. Hopefully I can make a video, a short one maybe, of how I do the roof, and we'll see the difference between the spray and then after I polish. And I do not own an airbrush. I've never owned an airbrush. I don't have, I never clear coat anything. I am strictly a rattle can painter. That's what I'm comfortable with. That's what I know. And that's what I'm decent at. So we'll give her a shot. So that's all we got for now. Appreciate you guys watching. So stay tuned for the next installment. Thanks a lot.